Hello everyone, this is Feinix13 with the Birds of Hermes. I am here just to help y'all with our newest thing that we're going to be releasing on our channel. We're going to be doing a Let's Play with me and Hawkeye1621, and as you can see in front of you, we're going to be playing Star Trek Online. So, in this video, I'm just going to give y'all a rundown of how the game works, as well as give you kind of an overall view of what me and Hawkeye are going to be doing. As you can see, this here is my ship. She's a Hestia class. The USS Epsilon is what I named her. I love naming my ships after Greek symbols. Don't really know why, but it's just my favorite thing to do. And in our playthroughs, me and Hawkeye will be doing either missions, which we will find up in this tab right up here, or we'll be doing PvEs, which will be in this tab right over here. Now, in the episodes, as you can see, if you are not a fan of the Star Trek universe, I will explain a little bit. We have our Klingons, which are here, Romulans, Cardassians, Borg, my favorite, Breen. The Delta Quadrant one here is based mostly off of Star Trek Voyager. But we will be doing some of the missions, usually some of the featured ones, which are for the newest release for this season, which are the featured episodes, which are here, which are part of the future proof section. That'll be the missions we'll probably do. Will be out of there. The PvEs will be coming from over here, mostly because PvEs are good for equipment. And if any of y'all are ever interested actually in joining with us, if y'all are fans of Star Trek Online, you're already playing the game, we would love to have you play with us. I am online a lot more than Hawkeye1621 is, and I am always in the mood for teaming up. Oh, wow, cool, Iconian. I am always in the mood for teaming up with people. I love being part of the team. I love helping people. I've helped quite a few people in this game. And because I love Star Trek, and I really like it when people, hey, can you help me out? Yeah, sure. Because I don't want people to get discouraged in the game, because it is quite long for the story. Alrighty. Well, this here is my character. I am an engineer. The game requires that you either pick engineer, science, or tactical. Well, first you also have to pick between Federation, Klingon, and Romulan. And then out of there you can be engineer, tactical, or science. Each one specializes at different things. For instance, I am an engineer, so I have engineering abilities. For instance, I can do fabrication. I can, build a bolt turret, or I can pawn a support drone, or jam transmissions, things like that, because I'm an engineer. Hawkeye is a tactical officer, so his are more tactical based, like throwing grenades, or suppressing fire. Suppressing fire! If you've seen, Archer. Science abilities. I don't have a science officer, sadly, but on any of my characters. But science is very good at helping out others. Building or raising people's shield levels, raising their hull levels, or confusing, for instance, like jamming the other people's weaponry, things like that. They also each get their own abilities in space. Engineers, of course, will get abilities that will generally boost like the hull, or redo like the hull, or transfer power levels, things like that. Tactical officers will get attack patterns or other types of attack abilities. Science vessels get mostly it's done for the shields for science, or they'll enhance the abilities of bridge officers, things like that. I went engineer just because I just kind of grabbed one at random. But let's open up our tab here. This here is the main tab. Over here to the right, as you can see, is the inventory. Let's go ahead and just close that. Now this is your main screen. So as you can see, this here is my stats. That's my health right there, my regen rate, my shield capacity, my resistance ratings, everything. And this over here, like my kit, my body, shields, weapons, and devices here, those are all equipped to my character. Actually, I don't even think I have that one equipped. We might want to put that on there, don't we? Oops. Alrighty, that's much better. Do I have the rebreather? Okay, I do. Your weaponry does not depend on which class you are. You can be whatever class you want. You can always have the same weaponry, which is actually rather funny because both me and Hawkeye actually have this weapon. We both abuse it because we love it. As you can see here, I have a Romulan Imperial Navy set between those three. I got those in a mission, and you can have it like you can buy those at requisition stores, equipment and everything. But the best ones you'll either get from missions or from your reputation tab, which is right up here. In order to access your reputation tab, though, you have to be level 50. I am, of course, level 60, which is the max level. As you can see here, I'm completely maxed out on Task Force Omega, which is tier 5. So if I were to come here, I can go to the store. See, I can build certain things. Like, I can build anti-Borg weaponry. Or I can come here and see I can build, Mako personal armor, things like that. Which would go in place of these. Now, as you can see over here on your left, your ship is here. Your layout for your ship is all right in here. And as you can see, mine has 4 forward weapons, 3 aft. All ships will come with deflector, impulse, warp, and shields. The weapon amount will vary between the ships. Generally, escorts will have 4 forward, 3 aft. Science, 3 forward, 3 aft. And cruisers, 4 forward, 4 aft. And each one specializes at their own thing. For instance, escorts, like the Epsilon here. Get a good look at her right there. Escorts are great at doing damage. They are very, very damage based. They are made to go flying in not first. You don't ever want to go in first as an escort. You will get blown away. They are made for doing damage. They just love to do damage. Cruisers, like what Hawkeye1621 uses, are made to absorb damage as well as dish out what they take. Science vessels have very, very high shields. And they can take a bit of a punishment, not too much though, more so than an escort. But their weaponry is not exactly up to snuff because they only get 3 forward and 3 aft, so they don't do much in terms of damage. They're usually made to help other craft. Over here, I have my various bridge officers, which you can use on your stations for your starship, for instance. They each come with their own abilities, which you can use. You also have your own standard away team, which will have abilities they can use while you're on the ground, which I can show you right here. In STO, there are both ground and space combat. With the click of a button here, I can engage assault, the typical. This is what kind of camera mode you use in combat. This follows my mouse rather than I have to physically. It's like when I'm back in this mode. See, I actually have to click and turn to move the camera, which can get kind of old when you're in combat. So you just hit a button, and now you can get it where it will follow your mouse with the reticle. Now, if I unholster my weapon. See, I could fire, but you can't fire at Deep Space Nine. So let's just go ahead and put all that away. It's a very Mass Effect style in terms of combat. Of course, space is jump. You can move around. You can run. Alrighty. Well, I've just shown you the tip of the iceberg. I'm going to come over here to the space dock here at Deep Space Nine. And I'm going to show you some of the ships. In case, hey, you're looking at this video and going, this looks kind of interesting. This is a free-to-play game. You do have to buy some of the ships. I'll show you about that here in just a second. But the game is free-to-play. And you can get all the normal base ships, which I will show you, you get for free. When you level up. Every 10 levels you get a new ship. Alright, so here we are. that is the wrong thing. Let's just start with Lieutenant. I need to turn off Small Craft and Other. We don't want to see those. This here is the Miranda class. If you've seen Wrath of Khan, you'll recognize this ship. This here is the ship you actually start the game with. You have this ship from the time you were level 1 until you're level 10. That does not take very long, trust me. And then when you're promoted at level 10, you get the choice. You can either get a cruiser, which is, of course, the iconic Constitution class here. This is actually more like the Enterprise A than the original. Then, of course, we have our Escort, which is a Saber class, and our Science Vessel, which is a Nova, right here. Now, as you can see, each one specializes in certain things by looking at the bridge officer and the consoles. See, the cruisers, more 2 engineering stations for your bridge officers and 2 engineering consoles. Of course, an Escort, 2 tactical, 2 tactical slots, and then 2 science. You get 2 science consoles, 2 science stations, and so on and so forth. So we come up, commander, same thing, and we have these. Here's your science, your Escort, and your cruiser. As you can see, each time we do this, the stats get better and better and better on every craft. So whenever we come to Captain, here's your typical iconic Galaxy. And then we have, a Defiant and an Intrepid. So we have Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. And of course, we come up to the last one. We have the Sovereign, which we will recognize as the Enterprise E, Advanced Escort, a Luna class. And in this one, you actually get one more. You can either choose a Star Cruiser, a Patrol Escort, or a Deep Space Science Vessel. Now, if you've noticed on every one of these, there's these little guys here, which you can see down here in the bottom right. It says the price is 500, and it has this nice little coin icon. It's Zen. Zen is what you purchase all the ships with. So you can come here, you have your tier 1 to tier 6 ships. As you can see, like for instance, the Jupiter class, which was just released. It was actually it was actually done by STO, where we actually got to have a vote on which craft we wanted. So you can see, like, here it is, and in the bottom right you see we have buy Zen. Zen you purchase is what you have to purchase to buy ships for the later stuff, which may sound bad. It's really not too bad. Most of them are very, very agreeable price-wise. Alright, now Vice Admiral right here, the tab I'm on, is what you get when you're level 50. As you can see, I'm level 60. Once you're Vice Admiral, you can get tier 6 Vice Admiral, and you're qualified to get the fleet ships. Now, in order to get to fleet ships, for instance, I can come here. As you see, I have, let's come to the end here. Here we go. Fleet Advanced Heavy Escort. This is just like the Hestia class that I have, except for it's the fleet version of it. So, I could right now, as you can see, everything's green, right? I can go ahead and buy it. So if I hit buy, then it gives me this thing. You do not have permission to buy from the provisional fleet store. You have to be in a fleet and be ranked up high enough to buy it. Your fleet tab is right over here. Now, to be in a fleet, you just have to have, really, you either have to be invited or they just got to promote you, or you have to start your own. And each ship, let's come back to the tier 6. Tier 6 is the best ships. Tier 6 fleet and tier 6. It's best actually to get the tier 6 ship first and then get the fleet version, because as you can see down here, we have these things right here called fleet modules. Fleet modules are 500 Zen, so it's essentially $5 for a fleet module. But see, this one here is 5. But if I come over here and I click on the Advanced Escort, see, it's only 1. Because if you buy a tier 6 ship, it will then reduce the cost for the fleet one. So if we come out here to the end, where she is, there she is. This right here, as you might recognize, looks a lot like my Epsilon, because that's the exact same ship. That's why it's 0 Zen. This is my ship right here. And if we come back a little bit, I can actually show you. There she is. I do not remember exactly which layout he is using as far as consoles and stations go, but I believe it's this one is the one that Hawkeye1621 uses. You will find out probably later because we plan on doing a Let's Play. And when we do our Let's Play, you'll be seeing both his cam as well as mine. So you'll get to see his layout and how he pilots, and you'll see my layout and how I fight. You know, it'll be a cool little thing for you. We also plan on having more of our friends join in later. And once we get all of our stuff ready to go, all of our consoles, all of our ships and everything, we're going to be starting our own fleet, the Birds of Hermes, of course. At which point, we would gladly like it if anyone would like to join in our fleet. We would love to have you. We'll help you out in the game and all that. Now, as you can see here, I have my fleet selection open. These are all the ships I currently own. I really don't use much of the other ones. The two ships I use the most are the Epsilon and the Sigma, which is this guy right over here. She is an Akira class, my favorite, absolute favorite Star Trek ship. She is actually supposed to be the same strength as the Epsilon, because they're both tier 6 escorts, but the Epsilon's actually better. And that's just because the Epsilon can last longer in a fight than the Sigma can. Because the Sigma is very, very Alpha Strike based in her damage. She doesn't do sustained damage very well. Alpha Strike damage is, of course, whenever you first enter a fight, you have your initial volley. The initial volley for the Sigma is ridiculously high. So here, let me beam up real quick and I can show you some of the space stats. But the Sigma, for instance, is ridiculously high in terms of Alpha Strike damage. The problem with that is your Alpha Strike is not necessarily going to always kill your target. And so you're going to have a long fight usually when you're high enough in level or you're doing PvEs. So having high Alpha Strike doesn't help very much. Although she is better defensively than the Epsilon, she's not very good at sustained damage like the Epsilon is. As you can see down here in our bottom left, I have it clicked right over here. Those are the power levels. I have it set right here. As you can see, it's 100, 55, 20, and 25 on the right. That's how I have it set. But because of my consoles, which I have in here, like my shields, warp core, impulse engines, and deflector dish. For instance, deflector dish adds +5 auxiliary. The impulse, of course, has +5 shield. I have it rigged where the attack is based 100, and I have diverted most of my power from engines and my auxiliary power, which is this bottom purple one, to my shields, which is the blue one right there in the middle. The reason why is I don't use much in terms of power for my engines and my auxiliary power. Most of my abilities are for boosting my shields to try to make my ship last longer in combat. But one of the nice things is here about my warp core, as you can see, it adds 7.5 of my auxiliary power to my shields as bonus power. So that's why I have my auxiliary power a little higher than my propulsion. Because propulsion in combat is not necessarily needed. It just improves your turn rate. That's about it. But the cool thing about the Hestia class, which is what I have here, is she is a multi-vector assault mode cruiser. The thing about multi-vector assault mode cruisers is I get these three buttons here, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Now what these do is I can split this ship actually into 3 separate pieces. My favorite one's Beta because it improves my damage, usually. As you can see, she splits up just like that. I love this animation. And they'll follow me around. See, so I come right over here, and they'll follow me. Now, the best thing about this ship, this is the other reason why she's so much better at damage over time rather than the Sigma, is because I have this ability called numerical superiority, which is specific, which is what I got because of this ship. So we can come in here, and I can show my traits. See, I have it right here. For every additional ally I have shooting the same target as I do, I get an additional 10% damage, up to 5. So whenever I'm fighting with Hawkeye, there's 4 people now shooting at the same target occasionally. So I will have these 3 that will shoot generally at the same target. Most of the time, the separated ships, which I can't control. I can just control one section. But the other 2 will usually shoot at the same target as me, so I get the additional damage. Let's go ahead and put her back together. I love this animation. We'll watch them disappear. Then they come zooming in from behind. Love that animation. Now, whenever you split like that, you get better turn rate, and certain ones get better abilities. For instance, when you're in the Alpha section, which is the top, you lose 5 weapon power, but you gain 5 power for everything else. You lose some of your hull, some of your shields, but you see then your impulse speed and your turn rate improve. For the Gamma section, you lose -10 weapon power, but you get 10 auxiliary. And then, of course, you lose hull and shield. But you also get your impulse at +10, +10. My favorite is the Beta section, because I get an additional 5 weapon power, but I lose 9.1 shields and 9.1 hull. But I get +15 speed and turn rate. So I can turn better, I can go faster, and I get additional weapon power. So the Beta section is a lot better for damage. I will go into more detail about combat in our episode with Hawkeye1621, which will be coming out very soon after this. I'm just trying to get you used to the whole game mechanic. Over here, just above my display right over here, is my bridge officers. I will also show you what these do in our episode with Hawkeye1621. In addition to that, you can see down here at the bottom rung, I have Miracle Worker and the Nadion in version 3. Those are all my abilities because I'm an engineer. And again, I'll show you what all those do once we're in combat, which will be at a later date. I'm not going to go into combat this time. I'm just trying to get you used to it. But that's pretty much the game. And it's very, very fun. So I recommend to everyone to play it. I mean, it's free to play. You do have to have available Wi-Fi and everything. The better Wi-Fi, the less it'll hurt. The less it will lag. But other than that, it's a very, very entertaining game, and I do recommend it. And if you ever want to come play with us, just post, when you plan on being on there in the comment section. And generally, I'll probably be logged in because I play this game quite a lot. And again, like I always say, I love helping people out in this game just because it makes the game fun for me. And I love having people playing this game, getting into the Star Trek lore. And so if any of y'all have any questions about like our series, like what we're going to be doing with it, just put them in the comments section below. And I will see you in episode 1.